Hey folks, I'm Johhny Gabriel and I do love to cook. I'm so glad you're here with me today at Gabriels Desserts. It's a restaurant and bakery in Marietta, Georgia. Today I'm going to share some recipes with you, some great ones from my second cookbook, Second Helpings. We're going to start out with a black bean appetizer. We're going to do a salmon cake we're going to saute. We're going to make a sumi salad. It's an Asian coleslaw, and we're going to top everything off with a jam square. These are delicious dishes and you're not going to want to miss them. We'll be right back. Okay folks, we're back and I'm going to start with the jam squares. That's the dessert and that's my favorite part of the meal. You're going to love making these. They're so easy. Of course you're going to begin with butter and sugar. And I'm going to cream that together really, really good. It's going to make it easier for you to cream your butter and sugar if you, when you're making dessert, if you'll just let your butter sit out a little while. Closer to room temperature the better. And this recipe is so, so easy. It was actually given to a friend of mine by a student that she taught in middle school. His dad was a famous chef here in Atlanta, and they had a math project they had to do. And of course, you know, when you learn to cook, you have to know your math. So I'm going to turn this mixer up a little bit because you want to get this sugar and butter really creamy. The reason you cream your butter and your sugar is your butter actually has enough moisture in it when you beat it long enough that it melts the sugar for you. And I use real butter here at Gabriel's. We use the real butter. We use the real thing. And you can find this recipe in Second Helpings. It's on page 183. Looks like we're getting close now to getting this cream. I'm going to add the egg. That's going to add a little liquid to this mixture. So that's going to help continue to melt this sugar. Okay, let's get this all scraped up. You always want to scrape the bottom of your bowl and get any butter that might be on the bottom all mixed in. So I'm going to crack this egg, and I always use an extra large or a jumbo egg. All of our recipes here at Gabriel's call for jumbo eggs. Sometimes they're a little harder to find and a little more expensive to buy, but I think it's worth it in the long run. So I'm just going to get this mixed together. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of vanilla. As I said, I love vanilla. It's just a great flavoring in almost all your desserts. We're just going to combine that. You know what? I can just do that by hand. And I will do it just that way. See, you got a good creamy mixture. Looks like all that sugar is dissolved. I've got an egg in there. I've got my vanilla. And then I'm going to add my flour. I'm just going to slowly add that. You just want to get it good and incorporated, and that's all you want to do. You don't really want to overbeat it. Okay, this is looking good now. That butter's mixing in with the flour. I can smell the vanilla, and it's smelling like a dessert. See, I'm going to set aside about 1/4 of this dough to go on top of the jam squares. It makes a really pretty bar when you get through. So let's just get this good and mixed up. You can see you've got a real dough here. And it's so simple. Butter and sugar and an egg and vanilla. Now I don't want to remember to save part of it. So I'm just going to pull off about 1/4 of it. And I'm going to put it right here in this bowl so I don't forget. I'm going to spray my pan. Oh Lord, I don't know who invented this pan spray, but I sure do love them. My grandmother used to use Crisco, and she would have a little piece of wax paper, and she'd get that Crisco out, and she would just thoroughly grease down that pan, and then she'd put her flour in on that, and then she'd have to shake it out. I remember seeing her dump the flour in the pan, and then she'd take that pan and shake it all around, and then she'd have to tap it on the table. Those are great memories. That's where I learned to bake, actually. Okay, here we go. Going to get this dough in. I'm just going to spread this around. You want to spread it nice and evenly. I just don't want to use all the dough up at once. Just get your fingers in it, and if you're lucky, when you're finished, there's enough left over, you can lick your fingers. Here are my preserves. This is 16 ounces of the preserve of your choice. I've made cherry, I've made raspberry. You know, I want to make peach. I haven't gotten around to that, and peach is one of my favorite fruits. But this is great if you heated one of these little jam squares and you put some ice cream on top. Ooh, my goodness. I'm making myself hungry. Okay, you got that? You're going to finish it up just by plopping little pieces of this dough. Plopping little pieces of this dough on top of the preserves. And then when you pull the dish out of the oven, you're going to see this bright red color. Now this is going to go in an oven for about 15 or 20 minutes. No, I'm sorry, it's going in for 25 to 30 minutes. The top is just going to get light brown. This dough that's right on top is going to brown a little bit. Then we're going to have it cooled and cut it into squares. So while I'm putting this in the oven, after that I'm going to be working on my appetizer. Now we've got those all tucked away in a 350-degree oven for about 25 or 30 minutes. Just let them brown lightly on top. We're going to start our appetizer. It's a black bean and feta dip. It's so delicious and so easy. We'll be right back. We're back now, and we're going to make this delicious, healthy appetizer. And Laura, my youngest daughter, who is now working with me at Gabriels Desserts after many years, she's learning some tricks of the trade and learning how to make some dishes. And she loves black beans, don't you?
This is healthy. Feta cheese is my favorite.
Oh, well, it is good, and it's loaded with that. It's loaded with corn. Y'all, this is so convenient to make and so easy. If you have a last-minute drop-in of company, you'll have most of these things in your pantry. It's white shoe peg corn, black beans, just drain the shoe peg corn, of course, drain the black beans, some scallions, some tomatoes that are chopped. Then we're going to make a dressing of some sugar and olive oil and some apple cider vinegar. I love that. We're going to toss some feta cheese in with it. Then we're going to top it off with cilantro, and we're going to dip it with some corn chips. And your guests are going to love it. Laura's going to love it.
Yes, I am.
And this is an easy thing to do. So we're going to get mixing. I've already drained everything. So let's just add the corn in. And look at the color you've got. My friend, Lindy Simpson Jones, who is also my godchild, gave me this recipe. Young folks love it. And she keeps everything in a pantry. While I'm stirring this, Laura, you know what you can do that would help a lot? I like to dissolve that sugar before I put it into the bowl. So why don't you grab a whisk?
Okay.
There's one right there.
And that's a whisk.
Yeah, that's a whisk. That's a whisk. This is a little bit of a cooking lesson. Put your wet ingredients in the bowl first. That's the oil and then the apple cider vinegar. I'm just going to get this stirred up. I'm also going to chop the rest of this tomato. I have it partially chopped over here. But it's nice, fresh tomato. You can use some Roma tomatoes if you like. This tomato needs to be peeled. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to seed it. And the best way to seed a tomato is just with a spoon. So the secret is a really good sharp knife. These knives, I'll do a plug. I'll do a family plug here. My cousin Paula Dean gave me these. She has a great knife set. You want to get all the seeds out of this. So as I said, the best way to do it is with a spoon. You probably I need to cut this down a little smaller pieces. Okay, how you doing?
Okay.
Now, what you want to do with that, what you want to do is you want to get all that sugar dissolved. So really get going with the wrist.
Okay.
I'm going to chop this tomato. And it's so nice and juicy and red. So here we go. We got the tomato. How you doing on that dressing? Are you seeing the sugar in there?
It's dissolving.
Okay. You're doing good then. Going to have some great cilantro. I love the smell of that. Can't miss it when you go in the grocery store. You pick up that cilantro. Okay, we're back here. So far I've got the beans and the corn in here. I'm just going to put the tomatoes in. I'm going to put the green onions in. Get that mixed up really. I'm going to mix these vegetables good first. Then I'm going to put the dressing over it. Oh, you did a good job.
Thank you
very much. Whisking 101 complete. A.
I've been missing out.
Okay, you want to just pour that over that? Just kind of spread it all around.
Okay.
And then I have to mix less, won't tear up those tomatoes. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, oh, this smells so good. Oh, I can hardly wait. Laura, there's a bag of corn chips over there. Yeah, you're really going to want to let this marinate several hours or even overnight in the refrigerator. Here comes the feta cheese. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Here we go with the feta. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait until this marinates to taste it. Maybe we should taste it before it sets up overnight to make sure we didn't make a mistake.
I think so.
If we made a mistake, we'd have to start over. And we won't know it till we get ready to pull it out to eat it. So I think maybe we'll taste it right now. Okay. Do you like cilantro?
I love cilantro.
Okay. Okay, we'll put that in there. Look at that. Isn't that great? Look how, and you know what? That's good old olive oil, apple cider vinegar, cilantro, black beans. Couldn't get any better. Not for a vegetable person. You want to be first?
Sure.
All right.
These are the ones that you can really scoop.
And that's the plan. You can get a mouthful.
Big piece of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
You go ahead.
I'm going. I'm not going to miss it. Oh, listen to that crunch. You like it? Good.
That's delicious. Delicious.
Can't believe I ate the whole thing, but I did. And it fit. Isn't that a gorgeous dish? Just so refreshing with all those vegetables. Now when we come back, we're going to make the salmon cakes. You're going to love those. Everybody loves salmon. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. We're going to continue on, and we're going to make these salmon cakes and make the salsa cruda that we were talking about earlier. And I'm a lucky mom. My daughter Laura is still here with me. She works here at Gabriels, and I get to see her a lot, but we never get to spend time in the kitchen together. So, you ready to make some salmon cakes? Salmon's one of your favorite foods, I know.
I could eat my body weight in salmon.
Oh,
So
well, I don't know if we
excited
can
about
afford that. I don't know if we can afford that. So, we're going to begin with a lot of good things. There's a lot of stuff that goes in these salmon cakes, mainly. The main ingredient, of course, is the salmon. This is one of our most popular entrees, and now they were so popular for an entree here at Gabriel's that we started serving them at lunch. And we serve it here with this salsa cruda. I'm going to chop this up. We get the salmon in, and I cannot tell you how much salmon we go through in a week here at Gabriel's, but it's a lot. So let's get this minced up pretty good. The salmon goes in next to last. Let's get the jalapeno going. I've already chopped a little bit of it, and if you have plastic gloves, I would suggest you wear them when you chop or seed or mince this jalapeno. I like it minced. I like a little heat in my food, but I don't like to get a bite of the jalapeno. Southwestern cuisine is so popular right now that it's good to know how to handle these. That's a pretty good size jalapeno there. You're going to want to get the seeds out and the membrane that's in there. Trim that out really good and get rid of it. So you're just going to cut some small slices here. Because you want to mince it. And Laura, the key to the chopping thing is practice. And I don't get enough of it anymore that I don't get to cook as often here. I have to end up
people
doing
chopping for you now.
I do. I do. But I miss the kitchen. This is the time when I get to cook. And when I'm doing a cookbook, I get to cook, of course. Okay, let's get this in here. Your jalapeno, I think that's plenty, using about 3/4 of that good size one. Now I'm going to start to mix. Everything's going to go in this bowl. First of all, I'm going to put this egg in. These are 2 egg yolks. We'll get that in. Laura, I'm going to let you get rid of stuff for me.
Okay.
Kind of keep the clutter down.
I'm good at that.
Then we're going to crack another whole egg. That'll go in. Go ahead and break that up and get it mixed up good. We got some good spices going in this. It's got some salt, some pepper, of course. It's got some garlic powder. Here, show you. This, it's got the mustard, the dry mustard, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and some celery seed. So let's get this dumped in. Mixed up. Doesn't really matter what order you put this in, as long as you do the salmon next to the end and the Ritz crackers near the end. We're going to get these scallions. I've already chopped up these. I think there's about 6 in here. Only the white part. Put those in. Here, we'll give you some of this. Get the rest of these spices out of here. And you want to take those?
Yes, thank you.
You're good at that. Very good at that. Okay, let's get this mayonnaise in. This is one of the binding agents here. We want to get that stirred up really, really good.
This recipe's in your second cookbook, isn't it?
It's in the second one. You know what? There's a little jalapeno left over there, and we'll get that in there. Then we're going to put in this parsley. There's lots of good stuff in here.
Yes.
The salmon tastes good enough by itself. And I like just a plain dish with salmon, but I love these salmon cakes. As I said, we just sell, I can't tell you how many we sell here at the restaurant. Probably in the hundreds every week. We sell 2 little salmon patties. You're going to see me form those in a minute. Okay, you know, let's get rid of that jalapeno too. There's the rest of it right there. There we go. We were going to miss some of the good stuff. There, get that in. And I'm going to leave these gloves on because I'm going to be forming a patty in a minute here. Here go the saltine crackers. This was just processed in a blender. Mix these saltine crackers in. And at the store we use this scoop, this good size scoop. We'll be using that in a second. You want to make sure these get nice and wet before we put the salmon in because it's chopped up pretty fine. So you want to not destroy it when you get it in there. Okay, I'm just going to make a little well right there. Got some color. Oh, you know what I don't have? I don't have the red pepper in.
So you've just roasted this whole pepper?
The whole pepper. You can buy roasted red pepper. You really can. But it's a little bit pricier. Let's just get these seeds out. You're going to peel the skin off. Get the seeds out. Then we're going to chop it. Now that we've got the seeds out of this red pepper and the skin off, I'm going to chop it up, and I need 3/4 of a cup. All right, just going to stir this up good. Get those peppers incorporated. See your good color? I've got my gloves on here, and I'm just going to get in this mixture with my hands. That's the best way to do it. We're going to form the patties with this scoop. Okay, this makes a nice size batch of salmon cakes. Okay, about this size. 2 of these make a great, just a really nice helping. So let me put a couple here, and we'll start a couple at the same time. Maybe 3 or 4 at the same time. You want to pack them good. Good thing I had my gloves on because I can go right into that salsa cruda. All right, that skillet is ready. You can hear it sizzle. Okay, this would be a great lunch for the 2 of us or dinner. All righty, I'm going to make the salsa cruda, which is nothing but tomatoes and basil, and what better combination can you get? A little olive oil. We've just have some grape tomatoes. One little interesting thing we can do with this dish is we can show you how to chiffonade some basil. That just means you make it in little small strips. You just roll it up together, and that's a French word actually. And see, I've got these little leaves laying right on top of each other, and I'm just going to roll them into a roll, just a tiny little roll. And then with a clean knife, I'm just going to make little ribbons. Chiffonade actually means just to make ribbons of it. Let's dump these tomatoes in because we've got Ritz crackers in there, we've got saltine crackers in there. Here's my tomatoes, here's my lemon juice, my basil. I'm going to put a little clove of garlic in here real quick. And there's some red onion going in this. And some salt and pepper. Now, Tom McEachern, who gave me the recipe, he suggests you serve the salmon cakes. We're at 145 and we're good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, and you might want to use the tongs to get them out. You did that perfectly. Good job. Oh boy, I'm expecting a dinner invitation.
I'm a natural.
Yeah. Well, you come from good genes, good cooking genes anyway.
That's right.
Look at that. Isn't that great? That is beautiful. Tom McEachin serves this just over the salmon cakes, and then he drizzles them with a little bit of good olive oil. But when we serve them here at Gabriel's, we just go ahead and put the olive oil in, and we make more of a vinaigrette over it. So if you were getting this for dinner at Gabriel's, you want to hand me the plate? You would have 2 salmon cakes, and then you would have the salsa cruda over it. And that makes a fine, fine dinner. Think you'd like that for dinner?
Oh, yes.
All right, good deal. Now we've got all this we could form, and you'll want to put those over there. You've got lots of leftovers here. That's enough for 2. These can be frozen and brought out and thawed and fried up later. All right, we finished our salmon cakes and the salsa cruda, and next we're going to put our sumi salad together. It's one of my favorite things. It's just an Asian coleslaw. Laura, something's smelling really good in here, and I think it's the jam squares.
I hope it is.
Well, I do too. I do too. Here, let's get them out of the oven. Oh boy, they are pretty, and I can smell them. Can smell those berries. Oh gosh, look, there we go. Those are gorgeous, y'all. And the nice part about this is they're so simple to make. Here, let me set this over here. They're hot. They're hot.
Okay.
Unless you've got, put this over here. And we're going to let those cool, and while they're cooling, and I can hardly wait to taste them, but while they are cooling, I'm going to whip up this salad here. Y'all, this is my sumi salad recipe. It's nothing but an Asian coleslaw, and it's absolutely delicious. We're going to start by sauteing these sesame seeds and these almonds. Laura, you just want a little bit of olive oil in there. You got the sauteing thing down. You're doing good. So just put a little bit of oil. Now what I will tell you is these things burn so quick. So quick. So you're going to have to stay on them. You're going to have to stir them a good bit with your spatula there.
Is this medium heat?
It's not hot yet. You can try medium. Let's see what it looks. I kind of have to go by what the flame looks like. There we go. Just let that get, you don't want it to start smoking. You want it to just get slightly warm. I'll kind of keep an eye on it for you.
Okay.
Then the main ingredient of this slaw, of course, is cabbage. And I've pre-chopped a little bit of it. And I'll finish that up. And it's very, very simple. It's cabbage, and it's onions, and then it's a dressing with some great noodles in this, some rice noodles in it. You want to make sure you've gotten that white part out of the cabbage because it's kind of bitter. So you don't have, this doesn't have to be a fancy chop, just get it chopped up. So now that that's chopped, I'm just going to put it in the bowl. Thank you very much. Okay, some green onions, some scallions again. Green onions, scallions. I think they're probably pretty much the same. You can use them interchangeably.
This one looks hot.
Yeah, go ahead, put them in. That's great.
All of them?
Just pour them in. Don't be bashful.
Ooh.
Get them in there. And stir them up so you can get, you might want to turn that down just a smidge.
Okay.
Stir them up quickly because those sesame seeds burn so quick.
Smidge.
That's a cooking term, smidge.
That's right.
That's the only way my grandmother cooked was a smidge. Every now and then she put a cup, found a piece of white cabbage, and we'll throw that away. After you've got your onions and your cabbage mixed together, and if I were at Gabriel's, I'd have to have on gloves, but at home, I just wash my hands a lot. You're going to put in this 6-ounce package of noodles, and this makes it so crunchy. You're going to love these. And the last thing that's going to go in is those sesame seeds. You're going to wait to put the sesame seeds and the almonds in because they'll get soft with this dressing on them until you get ready to serve. So don't get ahead of yourself like I sometimes do. So right now I'm going to make my dressing. This is some vinegar, some vegetable oil. It's simple. And a little sugar, of course. This is Gabriel's Desserts. So we're going to put a little sugar in here. Once again, when you're making this dressing, you want to make sure you whisk together and you get that sugar dissolved. So how are your almonds looking and your sesame seeds? They're starting to get a little color.
Okay.
So kind of lift and shake.
Okay.
Turn, scoop, whatever you got to do to move them around in the pan.
All right.
You just want to get them slightly.
They soaked up all that oil.
They did. You don't want too much oil. It's not necessary. You're really just toasting the almonds and you're toasting the sesame seeds. And I'm just whisking here to get this sugar dissolved. Okay, I'm going to put the salt and the pepper in. We're really close here. We're close to having a great meal
I'm not
All
sure
put
what
together.
smells better, the sesame seeds or the jam squares.
Oh, well,
over
the
here.
jam squares, of course, dessert. How are you looking over there? I think you can see how much darker they are. Why don't you turn off the gas?
Okay.
And then move that, lift that off the burner. You can just just hold it off the burner because we're going to put them in here
All right.
very quickly. So, as I said, the last thing you want to go in is your almonds and your sesame seeds. You're going to pour this dressing over. I can hardly wait to get this done so we can get this nice meal made. Mix the sumi salad up. You want to get that dressing. You want to really coat all the cabbage and the noodles, and then we're going to sprinkle the sesame seeds over the top. Those that don't escape out of the bowl,
Dump them in?
dump them in. Just sprinkle them, kind of spread them out.
Okay.
Well, you know, don't be
Sure.
bashful. Just spread it all around. Ooh, they do smell good. Let's see, you got them all? These sesame seeds are elusive too. They'll be everywhere. I never said I was the tidiest cook, but I think I am a good cook. And I know what tastes good. Okay, we got this good and mixed. Okay, Laura, it's tasting time. Y'all, we've got a great meal we've done here. We started off with our black bean appetizer and feta cheese. Scooped it with, we scoop it with some corn chips. We have our sumi salad made. We have our salmon cakes. And we've got our jam squares. Now, we've got two things that you and I can taste. What do you want to taste?
What do you think?
Well,
I'm going to go for the jam squares.
oh man, I wanted the dessert. Okay, I'm going to taste the sumi salad.
Okay.
I'm going to put a little bit on my plate here. You don't need a fork for your jam square. I never need a fork
gonna
for
cut
dessert,
these over
personally
here?
speaking. Just put them up here. We're just going to cut these into about 32 pieces. Since it's just us, we don't have to be too particular. But the recipe, this recipe is in Second Helpings. It's the jam squares. The sumi salad is in Cooking in the South, the first cookbook. Oh, thank you for clearing here. All right. Oh, these smell so good. I don't have to cut the whole thing because only you're going to get a bite of those right now.
Right. You can just cut it in half.
Well, I could. Here we go.
I've been waiting for these all
You get
day.
those out. All right. That side's cut.
Okay.
Did I cut the opposite side for you?
I'm just about to pick up a spoon and eat it.
Okay. Well, folks, we've had a great day here making this delicious meal. Sumi salad, appetizer of black beans and feta, our salmon cakes, and our jam squares. So thank you for joining us here today. I appreciate Laura being in the kitchen with me again. Thank you, sweetheart.
you.
It's nice to have Laura at Gabriels again, and we'll see you next time. We're going to enjoy this good food. Bye.